I'm gonna keep this part short and sweet, okay? A while back, I took a look at a little cartoon you might not have heard of called Dead End Paranormal Park, a Netflix cartoon for Halloween because I didn't have anything to review at the time, and I thought it'd be funny to give the show the old crap watch for shits and giggles. And in case you haven't seen that video, let me give you a quick summary. Don't watch Dead End, it f***ing sucks, it's gay as hell, and it's boring. You'd find more enjoyment out of an Illumination movie than watching this entire show. The only people I could see remotely enjoying it are either a bunch of kids that haven't even developed proper taste yet, or a shit-flinging monkey that somehow evolved off of the internet. By that I mean Twitter. Now here's a funny story, pimps. About a year ago I was browsing Twitter as one typically does when I noticed some tweets from some guy I was following at the time. I'm just gonna call him Red Madness for good measure. He tweeted out a few scenes from the show, including the autistic scene where some guy made a bunch of monkey noises, and the one where the blue-haired bitch started acting like a celibate pansy. And then he got himself into some kind of grudge match with the bad guy from Gargoyles over one of the scenes, and overall it was just complete f***ing depression. So if you want to, you can thank Red Madness guy for inspiring me to make that 54-minute rant on a shitty Netflix cartoon for kids. And also I had nothing to review for Halloween at the time. Molly McGee would have taken too long, so that's another reason I put this together for shits and giggles. Yes, I do love spraying negativity on the internet. Thank you for asking. If you like the show, then fine. I know it's been said before, but you shouldn't let me or anyone else's take on the show discourage you from watching it. Feel free to form your own opinions. I don't care. Or maybe I do. Now, I didn't think I would ever come back to the show. I thought it was over. I thought I killed it with my merciless critique. After I watched season 2, which came out on a Friday the 14th of 2022, I posted my thoughts in a lengthy pinned comment on the first video and left it at that. I was just gonna pretend this show did not exist and happily move on with my life. Well, now I'm back, bitches! Did you miss me? And I'm pumped and ready to shove in as many niche gaming and pop culture references in your face like I'm doing some kind of inside job of the show's gender non-conforming asshole to prove to you once and for all why the show did not deserve to walk the face of the earth before this guy does it 2 days before me. Oh, God damn it! Lord have mercy on this children's program, for I shall not. No, sir! No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. Ladies and gentle pimps, welcome to Dead End 2 Paranautical Pantaloons. This will be a no-holds-barred, no kids allowed, no f***s-given takedown of a show that shouldn't have existed in the Lord's plane of existence. And then after that, I'm gonna...
Whoa, easy there, sailor. Look, dude, I know this show isn't that great. Trust me. I know. But that doesn't mean you've got to yell about it. Look, maybe you should calm down, tone down the yelling, and go into this season with an open mind. You might find something you enjoy. Right?
Shut the f*** up, YouTuber artist manga writer! You don't know shit! You have no idea of all the shit I went through!
Well, I actually have a pretty lengthy video on the show if you want to check it out.
No, you don't, you f***ing gay-looking ass peasant! And do you wanna know why?
Why?
Because I'm better than you, I'm smarter than you, and my videos got more views than you.
Wait, what the fuck? No, it doesn't. I just checked the analytics not that long ago.
Well, call me Ringmaster Watley, cause I'm the captain now.
Did you actually watch Captain Phillips?
Welcome to the madhouse, you self-insert blue-scalped bitch! Get ready to die!
Actually, Netflix canceled the show a while ago.
Oh. Well, jump cut to commercial! Our story begins with a video message from our beautiful Lord and Savior, Pauline motherfucking Phoenix. Ain't nothing more divine in this world than the word of Pauline. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir! Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. This message is from a video of Will for when she died. Yes, they're having this funeral now, years after her death. Just thought you should know. Pauline states that she renounces all of her money, her pet white tiger, Destiny Ann, and her entire park to her stunt double and former custodian of Phoenix Parks, Barbara. Wait! Okay, hold up. Wasn't it established in season 1 that Pauline and Barb f***ing hated each other for years? Why would Pauline dedicate her last will to someone she was shown feeling nothing but contempt for? Why not one of her exes? A family member? The f***ing tiger? Was this video recorded before she and Barb developed an envious relationship? Is this because of the fact that she's a rich white lady and those people f***ing suck? Well, who cares? At least Barbara still remains the most base character in the show along with Courtney. Yeah, I ship it. Keep scrolling. Anyway, while Barney and friends are trying to hunt down a demon worm thing named Gort. Pugsley is practicing magic since he still believes he has a bit of that Temelucas juice within him, but it doesn't work. Despite the fact that he can still talk well after the fact, I still can't get over that, by the way. Later, Barney and friends decide to do some company-mandated bowling, since Barb is now the new CEO of the park, which rightfully gives Barnsley Buddy the chance to woo his first mate, Logan Paul. This episode is basically like that bowling episode in regular show. Actually, I think bowling is a common episode concept in many animated shows. While Courtney is tasked with lookout duty on the golden elevator, she falls asleep and something evil comes out after our heroes, but especially Pugsley. So after a bit of a goofy-aw misunderstanding and not so goofy-aw gay hijinks, we are introduced to our newest park resident. This is Fingers, a literal right hand of God sent from above to watch our heroes after the calamitous battle of Temple of the Jade Serpent. With all this set in stone, our heroes must now go through the motions of their new lives at Phoenix Parks, all while working through relationships, discovering more about themselves, and uncovering a much grander, darker, holier scheme. Oh, it's gonna be one of those religion bad messages, isn't it? The show seriously thinks it's Binding of Isaac, isn't it? So this season of the show actually does something different from the first season. It takes the series into a painfully confusing and generic route. The plot is loose at best, and because of the show's episodic nature in an itty-bitty living space, it feels as if no natural progress is being made towards the story. I think he who should not be named in this household said it best when he described the show's pacing as schizophrenic. Most of the time, stuff just happens out of nowhere with no cohesive rhyme or reason, like Pauline just showing up and helping out at the end of the season, just like how she did in season 1, with no semblance of development or an arc. I get that these episodes are supposed to be character driven, but these characters are honestly f***ing boring. Every time they do some dumb, romantic, tumblery shit, I'm always begging to get to the good parts. Where's the part where Temelusco beats the crap out of some demons in a bloody fight? Where's the Barbara X Courtney sex scene? That's what I'm here for. Oh, Dead End, it is good to be back! Guys, I have great news that I think you might be delighted to hear. This season is absolutely worse than the first one. This season was honestly just painful to sit through. I held off on reviewing this season for a while because quite simply, it's just so bad. It's so painfully boring that I feel like I'm slowly demasculating myself just by looking at it. Word of advice to anyone who's even sane enough to watch the show, make sure you have a game open on a second monitor, because that will help you get through the pain quickly. The animation in this series hasn't changed one bit. I mean, it's just a budget bloodbath here! I have said this before in the first video, but the animation in this series is all one massive f*** you to how Flash animation is supposed to look. And I know the company behind this, Blink Industries, has cooked hard with animations in the past, but this series was clearly made on a budget the size of Pugsley's f***ing nose. The backgrounds are all really just generic as hell, except for, I guess, the vampire world, and that's mainly because it reminds me a bit of Revan Dread from World of Warcraft. But the animation is just, god damn, just look at this shit. This bitch runs like she's a contestant on My 600 Pound Life. Who animated this garbage? F***ing Canadians? The art style doesn't help much this season either. It's not as ugly as something like Big Mouth, but in terms of animated Netflix kid shows, it is aggressively bland and tepid. It's like if Stone Toss and Steven Universe f***ed each other and dropped their baby out of church running an outdated version of Adobe Flash. I'm talking heinous budget cuts on the women, especially for a show pioneering in its sexual identity. Animation and movements that make it look like as if the team was forced to learn Flash while held at f***ing knife point, body and facial templates reusing up the ass. I mean, just look at this. These fat asses look like they might as well be the same character in Smash Brothers alts. And absolutely no Howler designs for the demons and angels. These demons look so boring, so confused, they get laughed at by the Watcher from Darksiders. And again, the graphic novel the show is based on was no Kentaro Miura in the art department, but at least had its own distinct visual identity, an identity that looked like it was painted with unicorn shit, but an identity nonetheless. This show was clearly not made to do fight scenes because the ones in this season come off as boring and weightless. They lack a sense of impact in any of the hits the characters give, for what few there even are, which makes them all just simply unengaging. I've seen some people in the comments describe this animation as expressive and, what prankster let this kid in here? With so many animated shows on Netflix having distinct visual styles, the animation just doesn't even feel like it belongs on Netflix. At best, it looks like something I'd find on YouTube for free or on some backwater streaming service that nobody uses. Hell, even the test pilot that came out recently somehow looks more alive, more colorful, and more visually interesting than any of this factory-produced garbage. What happened between then and now that caused the show to look like this? Did Netflix just kidnap your family and held them hostage? Did they steal your budget just to fund another season of Big Mouth? Or live-action anime garbage? Maybe that's why the show was cancelled so early, because they must have kept playing Payday till they hit a dead end. You get it? Because, like, that's the name of the show? Come on guys, I'm doing my best, alright? You didn't think I would notice any of those budget cuts? I did. Keeping up with tradition, this season isn't funny. The only joke that I even thought was funny was the fact it was cancelled before it could even have a chance. Oh yeah, and I'm still not scared by anything the show pulls off. By comparison to season 1, Dead End 2 Paradoxical Parking Lot is relatively safe and tepid. I don't know if I should say this because I'm not too much an expert on what makes something scary, but the horror in this series just comes off as tensionless. The show creator, Mr. Blessed Hamish Steele, has gone on record saying that this show is for people who like Infinity Train. Which, as a fan of Infinity Train, that statement is f***ing laughable considering how tame Dead End is by comparison. That's like the equivalent of comparing porn to a goddamn Marvel movie. At least Infinity Train was able to build tension with its horror. This show is so tepid, so safe with its fear that it makes Scooby-Doo look like f***ing Nightmare on Elm Street. A child is more likely to be traumatized by Centaur World than anything scary in the show. Well, unless your child is scared of religion, then Binding of Isaac does a much better job at giving your child PTSD. I mean, what part of the show do you really think is comparable to Infinity Train? I mean, is it the part where Barney performs a Mortal Kombat Mr. Pickles fatality on a random f***ing demon? Because I sure as hell don't remember that part. Or maybe that was just a deleted scene. I don't know. Is it the part where they exposit onto the audience the definition of a f***ing Gaysplosion? Because I don't remember seeing that in Infinity Train.
Look how camp you are! How PG-13 you are! You all scaring Chris little babies! I want you to be rated R!
I mean, if the show wanted to take this series into a story-driven direction, then you should have ordered more than 10 f***ing episodes, Mr. Balls of Steel. This show has 22 minutes per episode, yet it somehow manages to feel rushed and run at a sluggish pace that makes you want to take a real trip to hell. Oh, and speaking of hell, the world building here is poorly fleshed out, poorly communicated, bloated, and overall just really bland. Comparing to Infinity Train again, that show also has 10 episodes that run half the length of Dead End, yet it's able to fit most of its character arcs and world building into a more cohesive mesh, because that show wasn't trying to overcomplicate things, and so its character building remains compelling and overall organic, and it kept most of its world building grounded to the flipping train the show is named after. I mean, what does this series show us with the concept of a multiplane? Fucking nothing. In my opinion, with world building, you need to start out small, more down to earth before going deep into the cosmology of your mythos or whatever, which I believe rightfully allows the audience to engage with the world better, while also delivering a genuinely fun adventure. The show just really wants to have its cake and eat it too by having the episodes focus on characters doing some down to earth life shit, while also trying to cram in as much of its mythos as it can, and it just doesn't work. Now, there is a way to balance this out, all things considered, just look at Across the Spider-Verse, but this season doesn't do that, and so a lot of its ideas are just as flat as Courtney's tits. Gee, it's almost as if the show has a terrible habit of tell don't show or something like that. You know, one of the bastard rules of writing that people try to avoid, like an Imperial Guard on f***ing Slanesh. There is clearly no thought to making these things understandable to the viewers at home. Most of the time it's just brushed off. Even when they do show you some things, they don't show enough. Like Pugsley has been having these terrible visions or premonitions in one episode, yet we don't see the full extent of these visions. Everything he saw is just exposited in the last episode in some rushed ass manner. Couldn't you have dedicated at least 2 minutes in the f***ing merry-go-round episode to what this vision was about, Mr. Steele? Showing the war that caused these bad things to happen, Mr. Steele? What's so bad about these premonitions that we should care or be scared about, Mr. Steele? Did Barney die? Then why don't we ever see that? Why the hell should I even care? There's also the fact that these little Courtneys in heaven like to cut off these little destiny stems from a f***ing tree, which basically prevents people from going down a different path, and this already opens up a massive can of worms regarding basically every event that happens in the series. Like, why didn't the demons cut the stem that would lead to Arnold Schwarzenegger and Norma Shawarma getting a job at the park that would lead to Tema McDonald's finding his flesh vessel and briefly wreaking havoc on Earth? I mean, it could have saved you a whole series right there, or a tax write-off. Why didn't they cut off the stem that would lead to Pauline making a deal with the devil to get her powers? Do they just, like, let certain things happen? Oh, by the way, in case you're one of the, like, 7 people that love Pauline, we still don't know how she got her powers. She's just f***ing back now. Oh, and let's not forget the fact that the demon royal family that Timmy Turner comes from was literally fabricated so they could tell the angels to f*** off. Oh, what's that? You don't f***ing believe me? Well, see for yourself, pimps.
The whole royal family thing is something we made up to stick it to the angels. They're always bossing the demons around, so we said, hey, you donut-headed chumps, we can rule over ourselves.
And how's that going for you?
You got me there.
Like, what the Jesus holy f*** does that even mean, Mr. Steel Battalion on the original Xbox? Is Tema Fatass just an incel in cosplay with a conqueror's fetish? Like, what was even the point of the demons conquering Earth if they have no status across the multiverse? Was all of Temperature's wars just a bunch of inside jobs? I seriously can't confess how f***ing dumb the single line of dialogue is. It's one thing to make your oh-so-powerful villains look like incompetent bitches, but you just made all of the demons look like a goddamn circus! The demons in Hell of a Boss would f***ing laugh at these bitches. Fix this net shit! Then there's the fact that the characters just know what they're doing now. They already have full knowledge on demon hunting and the multiverse when they've never possessed such scholarly logic beforehand. It's like as if off screen the characters just purchased a level booster token in a video game. Since fucking when was that ever established? When did Norma ever learn how many planes there are in the multiverse? What is this? Fucking Rise of Skywalker? Much like Barb now being CEO of the park, the show just kinda expects you to take all this information and eat it up like the good consumer you are. The show literally skipped an entire season of development here. We don't really get a good idea of what most of these realms are like. When I heard Norma mention a realm of meat, my immediate thought was that all 13 planes are based on human sins. You know, greed, gluttony, lust, etc. But no. Looking at the show's wiki, all 13 realms are just some variation of heaven or hell from various mythologies, like Dudiel, Tartarus, Naraka, which is ironically depicted as a heavenly plane as opposed to the Hindu version of hell. Was Naraka actually a plane of demons originally? Did the angels conquer it and redecorate the place like it's Christmas Eve? Out of all the planes listed on the fan wiki, only 4 are explored in the show. What exactly is the realm of meat? What the fuck is Echos, Paradiso, Disarray, Empyrean, Gagan? Wouldn't it be wise that the characters get to visit one realm per episode? This just makes the world building overall confusing and really unengaging, made even worse by the fact that these new episodes are really generic as hell. It literally does some of the most overused episode concepts you'd see in an animated show, like the cloning episode, which is really just an unfunny ripoff of the band episode from Dexter's Lab, the wrestling episode, the episode where the protagonist wants to impress the other protagonist's parents, the aforementioned bowling episode. Ugh, don't you just love episodes that are dead on arrival, especially when they're stealing from another source? Oh, and there's no musical episode this time, which thank God. Hopefully now my ears will stop bleeding. Though maybe if Norma was screaming bad wolves in the first one, we would have had gotten a sequel by now. And who could forget the classic trope of heaven being evil? Alright, so what if the world building in episodes are confusing as hell? At least the characters are still intact, right? Of course not. Every single character is uninteresting and boring as sin. They have little going for them for me to actually care. And they go on such meaningless melodrama that all it does is put me to sleep faster than a melatonin overdose. Let's start with Barney. I ain't got much to say about this big boy other than he goes to a gym in hell because all the other gyms up there are terrifying and don't want a trans person lifting stone because toxic masculinity. Paging Barnabas Jones, you do know that trans-inclusive gyms actually exist, right? I mean, Christ, Planet Fitness even has a trans inclusion policy, so they would have no problem with you working out. You think a regular Earth gym is terrifying, but not the one where the Doomslayer lifts his irons? I mean, it would have been pretty cool to actually see what it was like for him to be at a regular gym, but hey, flashbacks are boring, I guess. Also, what binder? You think people at a gym are noisy to question your school binder? Like, what the are you talking about? Oh, that binder. Never mind. Norma's basically the exact same, except they finally dive into her having the hots for Arab funnies, so she tries to muster the courage to wait, up. Hold up, folks. I'm just getting word right now that Arab funny is canonically straight. Oh my god! Shippers on suicide watch right now. It is a bloodbath out here. Roll the clip and weep, boys.
You're the weirdest, coolest person I know. But
I'm straight. And I don't mean it metaphorically or rhetorically or poetically or theoretically or any other fancy way. I like men straight up.
Norma's whole trying to confess her feelings thing is honestly just really boring because it just drags on. But perhaps the biggest sin of all is that there's still no plotline about child abuse. Still, you promiscuous son of a bitch! I thought you were the second coming of God! I had faith in you! Aren't you aware of social issues more pressing than talking to the audience about the plane that dropped on Hiroshima on August 6th of 1945? Children don't want to watch cartoons about the Gaysplosion. I am more likely going to remember this series for that one line of dialogue alone. They want to watch Norma get ass slapped by her father while he's screaming absolute obscenities. Puh, best autism rep my ass. Molly McGee probably represents my autism better than this bitch.
I'm autistic, and I guess not everyone can handle my unbridled truth.
Pugsley has something more of his own going on, so he's part of some chosen one prophecy given him by God, being trained by Fingers to hone his newly gifted magic in the hopes that he would save the world, which are the subjects of like 2 episodes. Yeah, the problem with Pugsley is that his arc feels like it has practically 0 progression. He doesn't even fully meet the future version of himself he's supposed to become, save for some... He doesn't even meet the future version of himself he's supposed to be, save for some premonitions, which are really just terrible visions, and he never tells anyone about them. Logs? He ain't no better. I find him and Barney's his relationship very boring and lame. He doesn't develop on his own and just feels more and more like a forced love interest. I'm more likely going to remember him for saying Gaysplosion than anything he has ever done in the show. Courtney is probably like the only good character in this season because she still maintains her base personality and actually goes through a decent arc about finding out about herself, which leads to her finding out where she came from and helping these other recolors of herself escape heaven and lead a revolution because, again, angel's bad, God's a bitch, I hated going to church as a kid. Barbara remains virtually unchanged, and because of that, she is still one of the best characters in the show and deserves to be in a better one. We stand only one queen in this house, and that's one that keeps the streets clean. Yes, sir! Yes, sir! Yes, sir! Yes, sir! Alright, so that's the heroes. How about some heller bad guys like Succubus? Well, sorry, Succubus stands. She's in the season for one episode only where she throws a party and not Revendreth and moan about relationship drama. Man, I don't want to watch this Adventure Time Tumblr shipping bullshit. Hey, Netflix, you still on the rice of this show? Where's the Barbora and Courtney adventure episode? Just throw them in hell and have them fight demons while blasting doom music in the background. Yeah, that would have probably garnered the show more views. I'd be down to watch that shit. Also, cause Arab Funny is straight and that made Norma sad, she tries to hook up Succubus with Norma and the paging Mr. Showrunner. You do know that Norma is like 17 years old, right? Though to be honest, when I first watched the series, I always assumed everyone was stuck at the age of 12 because they sure as hell don't look like teenagers to me. And Succubus is like thousands of years older, right? What the f is this shit? Also, apparently Succubus has a name now. It's Zagan, and the characters just know the fucking name now. Like, at no point in season 1 did any of the main characters refer to her directly as Zagan. Not even her brother when he started to conquer Earth. So how do these characters know her name exactly? Also, her name sounds like a rejected monster from a Godzilla movie. I'm still calling her Succubus, by the way. Also, Temanitis is here, and holy shit! God damn, Temmie, what did you do to yourself? You know, when I said in the first video that Templeton would come back as a fat, lazy drunk, I didn't write that joke knowing I was a damn prophet. So after Temmings left Pugsley's body, he now possesses and lives inside a diabetic Jewish mailman. You can tell he's Jewish because they made him look like a Jewish stereotype. Damn, Mr. Steele. Jewish stereotype much? All he does is just sit around and drink and shit his pants. He's exactly like Fat Thor. You'd think he'd have a much bigger role in this season since it was established in season 1 that he's one of the most powerful demon kings in existence, representative of the demonic royal family and capable of raising an army of the dead. Maybe he would help out at the end while his brethren escape heaven's jail and get into an epic brawl with the Watcher? Except, oh yeah, I forgot. That title literally means nothing now, so he's basically useless.
But why? Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
Seriously, Tema Lucas, you deserve to be in a better show. In fact, I might have to contact Manga Writer and go to the rewrite board again and do this guy some justice. Oh yeah, Pauline is here, and like I said, she just shows up at the end of the season despite the characters never acknowledging her existence. And we still don't know how she got her powers because
You.
oh yeah, I should probably talk about the new characters. There's Hercules, who works at the bowling alley and is missing an arm, apparently. Keep his name in mind, by the way. I want to mention him later because he's actually more interesting in the graphic novel. Just not for the right reasons. Hey, wait a minute, if Fingers possesses magic, can't he just grow his arm back? Asmodeus is probably the most important new demon in the season. He's a well-renowned wrestler in hell and a member of the demonic royal family, as he is a distant cousin of Temelot. Now this might surprise you, but this guy might just easily be the most base character in this season, by far. Because he's actually got what comes close to an expressive personality, and isn't afraid of expressing his Chad identity. This bastard's got more cake than a bitch-born bakery. He doesn't cut his budgets, he f***ing embraces them. You, yes you, pay attention. This is the exact character you need to make more of, Mr. Steele. I want to see more characters expressing their sexuality like this. Tits out with more muscle mass than my boys they gave. Not quite Pauline tier, but I'm happy to put this guy in the high tiers of HDD, as in hot diggity damn. Pimps, let us welcome our new male lesbian icon, Asmodeus Hellfucker. Can I get a hell yeah? Hell yeah! Hell yeah! Norma's mom was the character established in season 1, and now she's here, and whoa! Sweet baby Jesus! My brothers and preachers on, as it is written in the book of Pauline 375. If thou shalt seek another woman, pray for your queen's forgiveness, because if I wander, I'm gon' plunder. Yes sir! Yes sir! Yes sir! Yes sir! Yes sir! Yes sir! This queen, this magnificent specimen right here is officially the best character in the entire show, no contest. This beautiful young lady is exactly what everyone aspires to be. Beautiful, loving, accepting, autistic. Every time she comes on screen, I can just feel a godlike energy flowing through my veins. Look at this. It's like I'm staring at a national treasure. She doesn't have that much screen time, but pimps, all I can preach to you is the Holy Creed. Autistic, packy, MILF pussy. Oh God, I can feel something inside me. I can just Just... I'm really sorry about that. I don't know what came over me. Let's just wrap this up, shall we? Fingers is the new big bad of the season, and I don't really have anything much to say about him. He basically exists just to groom Pugsley, and not in a Discord way, to become the Watcher to maintain balance in the multiverse. He's honestly just a really boring villain and barely does anything that could make me care for him. He's just there. There's these 3 ghosts that hang out in Pauline's park. You got Discount Hop Bop, Jules, who I will go over later, and this floating orb thing. They're really boring as hell and painfully unfunny. And last but not least, the Watcher. To summarize of him, think of this guy as Miguel O'Hara from Across the Spider-Verse. But you know, make him a more boring, stupid, cookie-cutter, less nuanced bad guy without any semblance of what makes Miguel O'Hara such a compelling character. The Watcher is a painfully bad villain, on the same level as Succubus. He's a really boring villain that accomplishes nothing in his limited screen time. Like, his whole job is to preserve the balance of the multiverse and the timeline to prevent Darksiders from launching on humanity, but he doesn't do any of that. The Watcher barely even comes off as a threat to our heroes. Hell, we don't even get to see what prophecy was plaguing Pugsley until the end of the season. Even when he does confront Barney on protecting the universe, he doesn't have any compelling arguments as to why he has to become the Watcher. The funny thing about this is that there is actually potential of making the Watcher a more interesting character. You'd think a character with a similar premise to Miguel O'Hara being the Watcher of a multiverse would make for a decent argument about accepting Fingers' gift. That's about, say, I don't know, keeping the people he loves safe. That he's doing it all for Barney because of how much he's been there for him like the good boy he is. That he wants to give Barney a future because of all the hell he's supposedly been through being trans and stuff, and that keeping the multiverse in line isn't as easy as, say, watching over animatronics at a children's pizzeria. Oh, what's that? Are you proposing a character arc for this guy? That, let's just rushingly redeem him in the last fucking episode thanks to a little tactic developed by someone named, oh, I don't know, Steven fucking Universe, where he's fucking talked down to by the fat trans dude and then automatically convinces him to stop following God's orders and save the multiverse. Sure, great writing, nut. We can't have our villain naturally go through an arc about what they're doing is wrong and that there are more choices to be made. That's too hard. We gotta dumb it down for the fucking Twitter brainlets. Cause God forbid we portray heaven as the good guys despite the fact that the main character is a Jew. So that was the Watcher for you. This character is really just another wasted potential cookie cutter bad guy. Blood wishes he was Miguel O'Hara. This was like the golden opportunity for the show to prove itself that it can write gold and it just couldn't. Psst, hey manga writer, if you're gonna rewrite this trash again, hit me up on Discord. If you ever want to just see this guy but better, Spider-Verse 2 is literally on Netflix, pimps. And if the sequel's coming sooner than later, then I can't wait to see how further I'm going to dunk on this discount Miguel O'Hara over here. Finally, the voice acting is, it's fine. It's the most passable that voice acting can ever be for me. The one that sticks out to me the most is, Jules. And don't worry, I will get to this person later. And also Succubus, because her voice acting is so genuinely awful, so legendarily bad. It sounds like something I'd hear out of a theatrical kids movie. I have no idea who voices this character, nor do I even care, but I think they should stop voice acting and do something else. Or at least learn from the greats like fucking Kellen Goff.
End of men! End of men, first of Ken.
Also, I'm now just realizing that the voice of Pugsley is the same guy who voices the funny haha sex clown demon from Hell of a Boss. Sorry that I don't recognize him from musical theater, but those are probably going to be the only roles I'm going to associate with him until he dies. Kinda sad, honestly.
Oh god, I have no control! I can't stop beating off! I'd have a more camp penis if I was in a morgue!
Well, pimps, that pretty much concludes my mega killer rant on Dead End 2 Parasocial Parkinson's. In conclusion, show still bad, visuals bad, characters abysmal, me no like gay atom bomb. This series is an affront to everything holy. Go watch Spider-Verse. Like, what more do you want me to say about this, pimps? It really is that bad. Alright, pimps, I got a movie to see here in a bit, so I'll have to make this quick. At one point in the show, everyone's favorite red penis worm, Gord, causes the chandelier at the center of Pauline's mansion to start shaking, which conveniently allows Fingers to enact his plan. Hey, Logs, as the head of health security of the park, I think you should probably check on that chandelier to make sure it doesn't fall. Just an idea. Come the next episode, Fingers sends Bart, Joyce, and friends down to hell to quell illegal demon activity, which just so happens to be Succubus's birthday party. So random party shit happens, and yeah, Courtney meets a blue recolor of herself at this party, which I will refer to from here on out as Bortney. Because sending humans to do an angel's job was apparently a stupid idea, the Watcher shows up himself and but not before Normalicon gets Succubus's phone number because they're in love now, I guess. Oh yeah, and after this, since Arab Bunny is into men now, Normana, the 7th avatar of Vishnu, quits her job at the park and f***s off back to her house. You know, as a straight guy myself, I feel perfectly seen with this character Arab Bunny right here. So thank you, Mr. Steele. And after this moment happens, Barney f***ing dies. And I couldn't have laughed any harder in the show. Back at Norma's house, she's in a bad mood because she got rejected by someone who likes funny and throws away all her Pauline stuff in the trash because, in her words,
we do not stand stars who abducted their impersonators in this house.
How much bleach do I need to drink in order to kill myself? Oh yeah, Pauline is back now because, to quote a certain video game rabbit, I always come back. Anyway, Logan SML shows up to get a seance kit, and this leads into a scene where the two talk about coming out and gay explosions, and can I just say how f***ing insane it is that this guy is having a calm conversation about coming out literally minutes after seeing his boyfriend get killed in a workplace accident? Like, that is some Warhammer 40k Templar levels of mental fortification. If my partner or significant other died under a chandelier right in front of me, I would be in therapy for life. Fuck the seance kit, I'm sending myself straight to Arkham Asylum. Yes sir! Yes sir! Yes sir! Yes sir! Yes sir! I love how we also just forgot about Barney's death in this scene as well. Like, he's not even crying about it anymore, he's just happy talking about coming out. Like, what's the excuse here? Is the excuse because we needed a gay character to talk to our other gay character about coming out in a forced, unorganic, awkward, and unsubtle way imaginable? This dialogue just f***ing reeks of Twitter speak. Like, if you're into this kind of shit, then that's totally fine, but if I'm going to be blunt with you here, I don't watch cartoons just so I can be lectured like a 5-year-old on what the f*** a Gaysplosion is, or Besplosion, or whatever f***ing homoerotic bomb they're gonna drop on Hiroshima or Nagasaki. If I did want to learn about that, I'd have more fun reading the article about it on Urban Dictionary. That's really not my thing, and it's not the whole reason why I like these cartoons in the first place. My pimps and pimperers, as is written in the Book of Pauline 2:45, thou must not indulge explicitly on such sexual immoralities, unless weaved well behind the naked eye. Putting aside my blatant and proud homophobia, I do think there is a way to make this scene work, don't get me wrong, and that's you got to write a scene for everyone, not just for LGBT. Like, again, some British artist I know of wrote Barney's story in such a nuanced, deep, and compelling way that made Barney's situation more tragic and relatable to everybody, not just trans people. The way he handled it was he showed Barney's hardship and struggles of being a person, which made the already butchered scenes in the previous season more hard-hitting. But the way the show just handles the topic in this scene is so devoid of any kind of subtlety or nuance. The delivery in this scene is incredibly forced and condescending to people outside the LGBT community. It's trying so hard to appeal to that one specific demographic that it feels like it forgot to make the scene work for general audiences. It's just the characters blatantly spelling the message right in front of you, delivered by these boring, undynamic planks of wood that I don't even care about. Which kind of shows you how flat these characters are outside of pandering to a very small, very specific demographic.
I know about the Gaysplosion.
I want to f***ing shoot myself. I don't care about LGBT rep that much in anything, but it's poorly written scenes like this that make me feel less about them. Freaking Spider-Gwen somehow does the coming out scene better. Whether you interpret it as such is up to you. I do think it's possible to tackle this kind of issue in a more subtle and nuanced manner than just having your characters say some corny like Gaysplosion, but you actually have to try and appeal it to everyone to make it work. You know, maybe that fat British guy who ranted on Starfield might actually have a point about you shoving this bullshit in our faces. Anyway, after that riveting conversation, Normally, goddess of destruction, gets the seance kit that Lux came here for in the first place. Then she goes upstairs and sees that her mom has gotten herself into some kinky possession roleplay shit with Norma's old Pauline dolls.
What? This is the kind of gays like, right?
Apparently Pauline is back, and she managed to possess one of these dolls because she wants a new body. And also because she's probably into lesbian possession rape play, she wants to curl her soul up inside Mrs. Khan and take back her park. Yes! I knew she was a lesbian icon! That's why we stand only one queen this church, I say. Yes sir! Yes sir! Yes sir! Yes sir! Yes sir! So some goofy off possession shit happens, and yeah, and then Norma confesses to her mom that she's gay but for women. Norma's MILF, I mean mom. Norma's mom accepts this because of
Mom, I'm bisexual.
Yeah, gay. Oh, for sake.
And before Pauline could kill them, they somehow build a miniaturized version of her theme park in the span of like 10 seconds. Pauline loves this park and says thanks, and with a little pep talk from her mom, Norma Karna, the sleeping giant, goes back to the park just in time to, oh, I'm sorry, You might be confused as to what's going on here. Well, apparently after Barnsweet died, he became a ghost and so starts spiraling into the 5 stages of grief, accompanied by 3 new ghastly goons, including...
You may recognize me as one of Pauline's divorced spouses, famous tiger dentist turned celebrity stay-at-home husband, Chester Phoenix.
Oh no, I recognize that voice. Hop up, no! What the f*** are you doing here? So these guys were here this whole time, just haunting the Hall of X's exhibit in the park. Why didn't they show up in season 1? Don't ask. From right to left, we got Discount Hop Up, one of Pauline's old exes. How did he die? I don't know, he probably got raped by a tiger or some shit. This floating goth orb that I generally don't know their name, but I'm gonna call them Orbulon, and Jules, who is probably the worst out of all of them. They might as well just be the worst character in Dead End history. Nothing they ever said was funny, and I felt more so annoyed by their presence. I would rather have fun playing the card game from Resident Evil 8 than be anywhere near Jules for 10 more seconds. Oh yeah, and they're non-binary, and in case you didn't catch it, we have the very subtle dialogue to remind you about it.
Hello, I'm Jules. My pronouns are they, them.
Just appreciate that fat, same template body they've used for a bajillion background characters. That unsubtle usage of they-them pronouns instead of letting the other ghosts use them and allow us to infer that they are in fact non-binary. Just appreciate the fact that nobody talks like this. At least Rain Whispers didn't introduce themselves by saying some corny shit like they're reading off their own Twitter bio. Don't you just love it when a story panders to a very small minority in your audience? Also, I find it rather odd that you made the red ghost with big tits non-binary instead of the literal orb floating next to them who doesn't even look like it uses the concept of gender. If I remember correctly, I think it goes by she, her in the show. Like, if you wanted to have a non-binary ghost in this group for no reason, then why didn't you just make the orb non-binary? It would have made a lot more sense that way. It's right there. I should give this season a 1 out of 10 right now. Also, how did all these people die? Were all of them like murdered by Pauline? Did these people like all die before Pauline did? Did Pauline hate non-binary people so much that she went out of her way to murder one?
Based.
Well, I can bet you she probably listened to that fat British guy who ranted on Star. Anyway, Barney starts going through the 5 stages of grief while these 3 ghosts make unfunny remarks and the other characters try to help bring him back. Oh yeah, they tried a resurrection spell on him once and all it did was just turn his corpse into a zombie. If you're wondering why I'm going so slow, well that's because this whole goddamn series is so goddamn slow. So Barney Jules' griefing gets worse and worse, and how come in the last stage he doesn't turn to an orb like Daisy over here? But before he goes right into heaven, the characters manage to successfully perform the seance and bring him back to life. Oh yeah, and Pauline, who came along with Courtney and the doll, reunites with Discount Hop Hop during this whole ordeal, and because he had unfinished business or some he successfully goes to heaven. Well, except for the other ghosts, because non-binary people aren't allowed in heaven, apparently.
Hello? Base department?
Oh yeah, and Pauline is the main character now. You just gotta accept that. Shut up and love her. After that, Fingers finally reveals that he actually tried to kill Barney because it was part of some test or some I don't know, I forgot. Alright, let's just get this over with. So they go upstairs to rescue Pugsley, get kidnapped by angels, put in prison. Courtney meets Bortney among other recolors who are revealed to be fallen angels in charge of pruning destiny stems, which I said earlier opens up a massive can of worms regarding everything that happens in the show. She starts a revolution for sandwiches. Asmodeus says the demon royal family is fake, which way to paint the supposed mistreated demons as barbaric dumbasses. Normonomicon tries to save Pugsley, and Barnstulin enters the final battle with the Watcher. So surprise! Turns out Pugsley was supposed to be the Watcher the whole time. A destiny forced unto him by the hand of God. As future Pugsley fights with his former owner, Subnormica manages to save Pugsley and bring down the whole holy prison. Meanwhile, future Pugsley takes Barnum the Barbarian to the future and finally reveals what happened in Pugsley's visions. What happened here was basically the plotline of Darksiders, without the badassery. Demons from hell rose up and fought the angels on Earth and killed everybody. The Watcher was only able to stop this war and bring order to the multiverse using a spell of division, which unfortunately did not bring all the humans back to life. Pugsley was being trained by Fingers this whole time specifically to win this war, if it were to pass, which rightly gives Bartleby the idea to go back in time and prevent Pugsley from becoming the Watcher. So after a bit of goofy-aw, timey-wimey shenanigans and yeah.
Oh, yeah. I still need to call my therapist.
Nobody's laughing!
He finally shows future Pugsley to his puppy self and how he's scared of that fucking ring on his head. This in turn causes a bunch of destiny stems to spawn on that fucking tree and for Barney Cuda to exposit all of Pugsley's emotions right in front of him, causing him to grow out of the angel's trance and become good. Ugh, don't you love it when a character spouts some other character's emotions right in fucking front of them instead of said character developing or discovering said emotions for themselves? God, that's just fantastic writing right there, folks. While this is happening, normalized crying over spilled cum manages to round up every demon from the jail and escape Fingers. But he manages to catch up and starts uprooting around the place, grabbing Pugsley with one of his tendrils and forcing the Watcher's helmet onto him. Anyway, Barnage Cassidy shows up just in time to stop the initiation, but it's too late. Pugsley is then ordered to kill Barney right in front of Fingers, but then Discount Miguel O'Hara over here shows up to save the day. The two then fight, and I honestly feel nothing about these two because this show is officially the worst fucking thing I've ever seen on Netflix. I think I'd probably have more fun watching Big Mouth. Actually, scratch that. I have more fun watching Inside Job. Oops! As both Pugsleys fight back against Fingers, they have no other options except for one: to sacrifice themselves to save the day. Although this goofy Steven Universe ass ukulele song is playing in the background as they die. So Pugsley's dead now, and wait, what the fuck is that thing? Also, Fingers is dead now. Cut off by God. At least I think that character's supposed to be God? I don't know, and the show is definitely not answering that either. Shriveling up like a goddamn raisin. But who cares? He's not a fucking dog. So yeah, Pugsley's dead now. RIP. What a way to kill a fictional dog that I don't even care about. Also, good riddance putting that deformed dog out of his misery. After that, Normanga is seen recording a welcome video, inviting guests new and old to see the crazy attractions at the grand reopening of the paranormal yet phenomenous Phoenix Parks. And so, with Barney sharing his last grievances on Pugsley, he drives off into the sunset while Normanji submits herself to the demon royal family and decides to go to war with the angels. Oh wait, I forgot that's never gonna happen. Gotta admit, that's f***ing embarrassing. Oh yeah, and Pugsy's not dead. He's just in another dimension that's totally not heaven. F***ing pussies turn their backs on killing a dog. Dead End 2 Parasitologist Pariah is a microcosm of everything I hate in modern cartoons. It wants to be Steven Universe so badly, and even it fails at that. It's boring, it's derivative, the animation is bad, blah blah blah. It left me feeling grumpy, sad, depressed, and feeling pregnant. And I should never feel pregnant while watching a cartoon. Well, the good news is for me that I don't ever have to worry about the show ever again except for the memes now that it's basically dead in the water. Well, unless I'll have to milk the topic again before a manga writer does it and gets more views ahead of me. Too bad because of this cancellation we won't be able to see the storyline where Logs gets f***ing AIDS from having sex with Barney and cucking him for another guy named Hercules. Yeah, that's right. That Hercules. See, I told you he was more interesting in the source material. Well, on the other side, at least Mr. Steele still got the rights to his series and his characters, and he gets to end this story in a new book, similar to Final Space, scheduled for release by summer 2024. Will I be reading it? No, you're not forcing me to read that shit even on my deathbed. Well, unless a guy I know of that rhymes with the Sean the Shiter picks me up a copy, I might check it out for shit and giggles. Or maybe I'll just try and rewrite this whole show better than what he could do. Of course, that's not gonna stop me from commissioning Art of Norma's mom getting ass-blasted backshots by Asmodeus while Courtney watches outside the window, but what are you gonna do, drop a Gaysplosion onto my house? Once again, I've been BeeMaister Reviews, this show is garbage, I'm better than Japanese book author, go watch Arcane, 2 out of 10, Merry Christmas. But, before I go, I do have one more thing to say. I've been admittedly pretty harsh to the show in this video. How about I end this on a positive note? Yeah, the cynical American cartoon reviewer who's been talking shit about a progressive kids show ending on something positive? What a concept. And that's Mr. Hamish Steele. If by any miracle you're somehow watching this, or you somehow made it to this part of the video, then I just want to say, good job, sir. You got a show on Netflix for the whole world to see. Even though it's under the boot of stuff like Stranger Things and Big Mouth, but for a brief moment, you reached the summit. I can certainly feel your passion and dedication for this project, this IP you created all those years ago. Even if I wasn't somewhat of a talented writer myself, I'd probably take pride in my work too. Not everyone can get their own show, and those that do have to go through hell just to get it out for the world to see. But you stuck through, and for a brief moment, you won. I truly hope that making this series was a deep experience for you. Seeing all the coverage and critique, both positive and negative, I mean, after all, any publicity is good publicity, am I right? and hopefully learning the right and wrong lessons of writing a story. Also unrelated, but you got a cool name for an author. Which I had a cool author pen name like Warmick Thunderson or Baz Ironcock. I do hope that there is a brighter future ahead in your career, Mr. Steele. You certainly have a lot to learn in the road ahead. I'm not just gonna sit here and call you a talentless hack, because you really do have a future ahead of you, genuinely. I may have acted a bit like a dickhead to your own show in this video, but putting down the mask for a moment, I sincerely believe there is a great potential within you. So take your time, Mr. Steele. Learn what you can from videos like these, and from cartoon greats like Gendy Tartakovsky, Alex Hirsch, no, not you, and some other great writer I never mentioned in this motivational speech aimed at you specifically. Appreciate not what you lost to the big mouth of death, but for what you've created. And prepare for the road ahead, Mr. Steele. It's a long one, but keep at it, and I believe you'll achieve something. Most importantly of all, however, when's the Barb and Courtney comic coming out? You still own the rights to the graphic novel, right? Well, if you do, then please, I would love to see you write an adventure story where Barb and Courtney trek across hell and kick ass like Gotrek and Felix. I will pay you one of my kidneys if you make this happen. I don't care if you make one of them trans, gay, or anything else. As long as I see them kick ass, then I'm satisfied. Please, Mr. Steele, I need Barb and Courtney action in my life. I need